Christ is in our midst. A parable is a story that teaches a lesson. Jesus used parables to explain his teachings by using examples that people could relate to and understand. Today we're going to act out one of our favorite parables, the publican and the Pharisee. Two men went up to the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee.
There I am, just walking to the temple, singing do-what-dee-dee-dee-dum-dee-dee-doo. Snapping my fingers and shuffling my feet, singing do-what-dee-dee-dee-dee-dum-dee-dee-doo. I look good, I look fine, I look good, I look fine, and I bet I blow your mind.
The Pharisees were a group of Jews who strictly followed 613 commandments.
613.
Following the law was of utmost importance to them.
Utmost importance.
The other was a tax collector, known as the publican. Tax collectors were hated because they often cheated people by collecting more money, and they gave the taxes to the Romans, who treated the Jews as second-class citizens. So in the eyes of the Jews, the tax collectors had two strikes against them. One, they cheated people out of money, and two, they gave the money to the Romans, whom the Jews greatly disliked. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself.
God, I thank you that I am not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even like this tax collector over there. As we say in Arabic, he's just I fast twice a week. Count it, twice. Not once, but twice. And it's really hard for me to fast because I get really, really hungry. I may not look it, but I sure do like to eat and sleep, but mostly eat. But I do it for you, God. Oh, sweet Lord, baby Jesus. I just love you so much. And because I'm just so wonderful, I amaze myself. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling the truth, so it's not bragging. I'm really very humble, too. I'm just thankful I was born so great. God, you sure knew what you were doing when you created me. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I give tithes of everything that I possess. Do you know that tithing is 10%? Not 5%, not 2%, but 10%. That's a lot of money. If I have $1, I give 10 cents. If I have $100, I give $10. I don't want to brag, but how can I help it? I'm just amazing, don't you think? I didn't mean to ask.
Well, I'm gonna tell you anyways. What? Yeah, you only do something good when people can see, just to make yourself look good. What do you ever do for me? Do you know how sick I was when I was carrying you? Do you know how many hours and hours it took for you to finally be born? Do you know how many sacrifices I have made for you? Do you ever take me to the mall? Do you ever cook me dinner? Do you ever clean up after yourself? Do you ever clean up your stinky socks? By the way, I've been meaning to talk to you. You really need to bathe more. People are starting to talk. It's starting to embarrass the family, if you know what I'm saying. And do you ever say thank you for the delicious meals I make you, and I cook what you like, not what I like? Do you ever appreciate what I do for you? Do you ever bring your kids over to see me? If you had married the woman I wanted you to marry instead of the putz you married, we wouldn't have this problem. She's the one who turned you into this. You didn't listen to your mother. You never listened to your mother. If you had listened to your mother, you wouldn't be in this predicament.
But Ma!
Excuse me, I don't want to interrupt this little family crisis here, but I have a parable to tell. Why don't you call Dr. Phil later? Do you mind if we continue?
How rude.
You gonna take this, Ma?
That's why I gave up taking pictures at weddings. Jewish mothers are just too tough to deal with. Getting back to the parable. Now the tax collector was standing far off and wouldn't as much as raise his eyes to heaven, but he beat his breast. I said he beat his breast. Really hard. Really, really hard. No, harder. Not that hard. Just why would you do that?
Well, you said.
Yeah, I guess I did.
God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I am so sorry. I have cheated people out of their money. I gave into temptation. I was poor growing up. I thought it would be the easy out. That's no excuse. I know. Shame, shame, shame on me. I can't even lift my eyes to you. I'm not worthy. I wouldn't blame you if you hated me. I never should have let you down.
I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled.
What are you doing, dude?
Get down.
That's nicely.
Sir, please get down.
All right.
For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but he who humbles himself will be exalted. This parable This parable is very pertinent, especially during Great Lent, because Great Lent is a time where we need to self-reflect and get closer to God. The church gives us many opportunities with many extra services, Lenten projects, and fasting with the hope of giving money we save on food to the poor. We also need to give of ourselves.
We at St. Mary's Church are called to work together as a team, as a parish family, and as a community. As Chris Shadden said in his sermon a few weeks ago, we need to allow Christ to warm us so we can be a cohesive group, just like the sun warms the snow crystals, which enables them to stick to each other.
When we work together as a parish family, we need to do so joyfully and humbly, because how we behave affects those around us. If we have God in the center of our hearts, we will do his work naturally, because we are created in his image and likeness. Therefore, we will emulate him by being like him.
As it says in Matthew 6, verse 3, quote, "But when we do a charitable deed, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, that your charitable deed may be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will himself reward you openly." End quote. Let us learn from the example of the publican and the Pharisee. The Pharisee did good things, but he bragged about it and was boastful. But the tax collector was humble, recognized his sin, and asked God to forgive him. Thank you. Thank you very much.